Connor, I just want to ask, what's your methodology? Is this what, if you were in charge of every team, this is how you would pick it? Or is this just because you did this for years and years and years at Bleacher Report? You're now our draft analyst here at NBC Sports as well. I know you have contacts around the leagues as well. So is this what you think will happen or what you think should happen?
For postseason 3.0, I'm trying to get closer to what's going to happen, because by then you're talking to people, you have projections on players, you have all-star game invites, the season's over. You'd rather be closer to show the fans, hey, this guy's going to go here. I don't have to rank him. That's what the big board's for. I have a top 75 on NBC Sports if you want to see. I might have a guy 6th or 5th overall. He might be 24th on my rankings. But this is a quarterback league. Quarterbacks are going to go. Wide receivers are going to go. So for 3.0, the methodology is, what am I hearing on the players? What am I seeing with the fits? And how high can this player go in the draft?
Okay, well, let's get stuck into it. Let's look at 1 through 10. No surprise, the 2 quarterbacks at the top, Caleb Williams, Drake Maye. How good do you think these guys are going to be from the jump, Connor?
I mean, they could be fantastic because they're such good athletes and they both have huge arms. So when you look at the limitations physically, there is none. A lot of people with Caleb Williams got carried away over the summer and went, oh, Mahomes. I see more of a Kyler Murray, but I mean, he's a better passer in my opinion than Kyler Murray, but makes those plays out of structure like Kyler Murray. With Drake Maye, you're going to hear a lot of Justin Herbert comparisons just because physically 6'4", 225 runner, great accuracy down the field. Same could be said about Caleb Williams. Limitless there. It's funny, last year, guys, we had so much talk fantasy-wise around the running back class, Bijan, Jahmyr Gibbs, and on, the tight end class. And it was a great tight end class in fantasy, Kincaid, Laporta. And this year, very quarterback heavy, very wide receiver heavy. Yep. So still more fantasy relevant than ever this draft, but just in a different way.
So questions for you as a Commanders fan here. So you have us taking. Yeah, of course. Well, screw it. It's my show.
Don't hear about the Titans taking Olu Fashanu?
No,
we're going to pass.
You can do that on your Titans podcast that you host.
Tighten up.
With
Jay
you and Drew
Croucher.
Dinsick. Yeah, you and Drew Dinsick. Tighten up. So here's my question on Drake Maye. So first off, I know there was some talk of like maybe Drake Maye goes over Caleb Williams. You don't think that's the case anymore. And then I've heard other people say, like, I wonder if Jaden Daniels goes ahead of Drake Maye as well. So am I Commanders screwed by not getting the first pick by Caleb Williams, right? You know, or are we stuck with, Ryan Leaf instead of Peyton Manning here? You know, is this one of those deals? Or
Zach Wilson instead of Trevor Lawrence?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
you know,
it's a fun one to live through.
Right? You know?
But right now,
RG3 instead of Andrew Luck. You know, we had RG3's rookie year, and we always said that. Is there a chance that Jaden Daniels gets into the spot? What are we getting out of Drake Maye specifically? And talk about him versus those other 2 quarterbacks.
The Jaden Daniels one's a great one to bring up because I know one team and only one team that thinks he's the best quarterback in the draft. To show you how all over the place these rankings can be. Now, that team is not picking in the top 5, so how much does that matter? But it shows you there are teams looking at these guys in a different way. With Jaden Daniels, why he can go in the top 3 picks is that this is a dude that is a scary runner. I mean, the last 2 seasons, over 2,000 rushing yards, and he could throw the ball down the field. Now, he's a lighter guy. He hasn't played as consistent, I think, as the other 2 over the whole stretch of his college career. He won the Heisman this year, but the whole stretch of his college career. Now, when you look at Drake Maye, you're getting a guy that throws with touchdown. I mean, the Terry McLaurin stock up if Drake Maye goes there cannot be, and I would say Jahan Dotson, because Dotson can win down the field. Maye throws with touch down the field. He's a little chaotic. The decision-making is what a young quarterback looks like, where he'll take chances, very risky chances, but he can move. He could take a hit. He's a big-bodied passer that'll hold up in the pocket. If the Commanders, they already got step 1 out of the way, which is a big one. Adam Peters, a good evaluator, a respected evaluator. If they get a Ben Johnson and then draft a Drake Maye or Caleb Williams, I mean, this offense looks totally different.
Look at him. He can't contain his excitement.
He deserves happiness after watching this season.
I do deserve happiness. And I'll if that how happens,
I think
we get
it really
Drake Maye, we get Ben Johnson as well. We have $80 million in cap space as well. I'm going to apologize to you guys and the viewers at home, because if you think I'm obnoxious and annoying now, wait till next year. Wait till next year when we're actually good, where we actually have hope, where we actually have a future.
You know what I think I need to do? I think I need to become a New York Giants fan and just lean into it, to go head-to-head with your Commanders, head-to-head with Penn State, like the Eagles. You're a Jets fan.
Yeah.
I think we're going to be a Giants fan. Yeah,
or the Cowboys.
I grew up a Giants fan. I was a Giants fan, then I kind of lost my way a bit and started betting and less attachment to teams. But maybe I'll lean back into the Giants.
Giants would be fine. By the way, if Nick Sirianni does in fact get fired, Brian Daboll, the longest tenured coach in the NFC East, with 2 years. If McCarthy and Sirianni both end up losing their jobs, which is both McCarthy's much more rumored than Sirianni, but there's a chance.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's hit on these wide receivers. Harrison, Neighbors, Odunze. Are they just going to be superstars from the jump? We've seen wide receivers come into the league. I mean, Puka Nacua is kind of a strange exception, but guys like Jefferson, Chase, who are just
you have
superstars
Harrison
from the
going
go.
to the. You have Harrison going to the Patriots. You have Neighbors going to the Chargers, and then Odunze going to the Bears.
Right, which would be paired with Caleb
Caleb
Williams,
Williams.
which you have to like a
Doggy.
lot in that situation. And then
DJ Moore.
It's funny with Marvin Harrison Jr., you hate this situation because then who's the quarterback, right?
Sure.
They only do this if they go out in free agency and get Kirk Cousins or somebody they really like. Otherwise, they probably have to take Jaden Daniels.
Or Justin
3.
Fields, by the way, who apparently
Right.
is now available.
Right.
If they're taking Caleb Williams, they're not sticking.
He's getting traded.
He's getting
So
traded.
you think of Atlanta, you think of all of those teams that are quarterback needy. Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to be a star in this league. For redraft evaluations, it'll be similar to how people looked at Jamar Chase his rookie year. I mean, you just think, hey, he's going to be really good right away. Size, speed. He's bigger than Chase, which is crazy. Neighbors reminds me so much of DJ Moore. He is so good with the ball in his hands and wins without the ball in his hands over the top. A lot of people will say, how did the Chargers draft another wide receiver? It's going to be a new regime. Doesn't matter. Quentin Johnson means nothing to this new regime. They need another wide receiver. In any normal wide receiver class, Neighbors is the number one wide receiver. He's just in a class with the greatest wide receiver prospect we maybe have seen in the last 10 years.
Right.
Okay. All right. Well, let's jump to 11.
You have him. You have Marvin Harrison Jr. For people that you
Yeah.
have Marvin Harrison Jr. graded higher than Jamar Chase. Justin Jefferson actually wasn't. He was considered more of a slot guy. He became that, but he was like a day two guy coming out. I feel like Jefferson was.
Chase was the best I've seen while doing this, and I would say Marv is at least equal with him. At the end of it, it could be a higher grade. Okay. I did have Jefferson in the first round. I've missed plenty, but I did have him at the end of the first round. And that's where he went, and it worked out pretty good for him.
Hopefully above Jalen Rager.
But the slot thing was very real. That was very real. Everyone's like, only plays in the slot. It's like, well, when you watch the reps outside, he's cooking people, and it worked out pretty good for Jefferson.
Indeed. All right, let's jump to 11 through 20. Headlines by Michael Penix Jr. How much did he hurt his stock with the national championship game?
Not that much, Jay, because he played so well in the semifinal when he had been written off after his career at Indiana. He goes to Washington. He has a great 2 years. He's maybe the most pro-ready pocket passer in the draft. He's going to the Senior Bowl. Jim Nagy announced last night, and he's going to have a great couple of days there. His arm talent is just incredible. I've heard these teams in the middle range are all over him, knowing that the top 3 guys are going to be gone. Kevin O'Connell, when you watch his offense, it is a perfect fit for Penix Jr. Kind of makes you wonder if the Broncos at 12 or the Raiders at 13 try to get in front of Minnesota for maybe the last of the first-round quarterbacks.
Would be super interesting. Let's move down the list here. Brock Bowers, the tight end from Georgia, you have him going to the Colts at 15 overall. I'll just say this. The Falcons at pick 8 could do the funniest thing of all time if they wanted to take Bowers.
Yeah.
I just throwing it out there. You have them taking Dallas Turner from Alabama at 8, but I'm just saying if the Falcons just wanted to really troll everyone in the universe, they could take Bowers. And I think we about a year ago we looked first round rookie tight ends, but in a year after Kincaid and Laporta, you saw flashes from Michael Mayer. Suddenly Brock Bowers, who has drawn comparisons, to Kyle Pitts in the sense of this is an elite tight end prospect.
Right.
It's different players, of course, but.
Right. It goes back to the combo we had on the show months ago where we were talking about Trey McBride, and we were like, why is Trey McBride, should he be a thing? He's the rare unicorn that was the guy in his college offense at tight end. Offenses in college, they don't use the tight end as the number one guy. He was that guy at Colorado State. Brock Bowers did this as a freshman and a sophomore for national championship Georgia,
in the SEC,
who they've had Pickens, they've had players, but he's the guy. They designed most of the passing offense, which was run by Todd Monken those years, around him. That speaks volumes of how special he is. He can win above the rim. He breaks a ton of tackles. He's a good blocker. He never comes off the field. Can play on the line, off the line. This is a special player at the position.
Yep, and the betting market rated Georgia as the best team in the country going into the SEC title game, and you could see how much they dropped off because Bowers clearly wasn't 100%.
He got hurt this year.
Next
By the way, going to a Shane, if this holds true,
oh my goodness,
going to a Shane Steichen offense would be pretty interesting.
Yep. Kind of the next wide receiver, Brian Thomas Jr., you've got going 17 to the Jags. What kind of impact will he have?
I don't know if this is even high enough, and nobody's talking about him, but his speed is different. He's 6'4", he's got great length, but he runs like the wind. He absolutely flies, he tracks the ball well. Jacksonville, a lot of people think they're going to lose Calvin Ridley in free agency. A lot of people are starting to think that. which means they go back to the well in the draft for wide receiver with the biggest big play threat. I mean, when you look at Jalen Hyatt last year, this guy's a better version of that. He really is. I think he's more well-rounded. So Thomas Jr., once again, buried in a great receiver class where the top 3 are superstars. This guy has legitimate number 1 potential. They think Jamison Williams, maybe not as fast, but he's bigger and plays stronger.
Yep.
A name that we need to get to know. Let's move now to 21 through 30, your third round here. And, the first guy that sort of comes up here is Troy Franklin, the Oregon wide receiver who you have going to the Chiefs. They do need wide receivers.
That can catch the ball.
Yeah, Troy Franklin can catch the ball.
Right. Troy Franklin, very
What else can he do?
Will Fuller player. He just constantly runs by guys. He's been phenomenal for Bo Nix these last 2 years at Oregon. A true vertical threat. This is just a layup putting him in an offense with Patrick Mahomes. Somebody that could stretch the field. Rashee Rice was interesting this year. He was used more of a short area target rather than a true field stretcher. So go get that guy in Franklin and balance this passing attack.
No, I like that. And it's interesting that just the lack of running backs, right? Is there anyone who's going to go? Anyone going to float?
If I did a 2-round mock draft, I don't know if we'd have one. That's how thin we are this year. The best running back in the country for the draft was Jonathan Brooks from Texas. He tore his ACL in October. So Blake Corum from Michigan, nice player. Trey Benson from Florida State, nice player. But we are so far removed from last year with Bijan and Gibbs.
So there's a bunch of, sounds like it's some
Dynasty 3rd-round flyers.
Yeah, just guys that you're hoping that fall into the right situation as well. Last one for me here is Walker from North Carolina. Devontae Walker. You have him going to the Buffalo Bills. Talk to me about Walker from Carolina.
Much like maybe Calvin Ridley leaves Jacksonville, maybe Gabe Davis leaves Buffalo, and they need that number 2. Walker's very consistent. He had a weird NCAA issue where he couldn't get on the field the first 6 weeks as a transfer. He was phenomenal with Drake May the rest of the year. He has huge strides, can win down the field. He's very good in the short area. They need consistency at their number 2 wide receiver spot. He'd bring that to Buffalo.
Certainly like that. All right. Well, good job. You can read the rest of Connor's mock draft again at NBCSports.com. It's mock draft 3.0. Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBCSports.com and Rotoworld.com. And I want to thank you so much for watching whatever it is you just watched. Or if nothing else, being too lazy to click out of the autoplay after this video started, after whatever it is you actually wanted to watch finished. But now that you're here, I'd like to take a moment here to ask you respectfully now, okay? I'm asking you respectfully to subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel. You'll get the latest Roto-World fantasy news headlines, all sorts of great shows, including my own Fantasy Football Happy Hour. So go subscribe now. Again, I'm asking respectfully.